It's 8 o'clock under St. Louis, the Better Love program from KSHE Crestwood.
St. Louis has such a rich history of radio from the 60s, 70s on up.
And you know what else we have, Ron? We have a rich history of radio people that are really into radio. More so than a lot of cities. We
Kenny
are
Hawkins.
Fan city.
Meet Kenny Hawkins.
Here he is.
Probably St. Louis's largest collector of radio
top-notch talent.
Airchecks.
Yes.
Aircheck is what they call it.
I would say the most possible variety of different things on a single Aircheck, especially KSHE.
What is the oldest, if you know, the oldest recording you have from KSHE? I know you have some from the late 60s.
1967.
Now, how did you get that?
That's the beginning. Wow.
How did you get us? Because we precede your arrival here.
Well, I got it from John Neiman, the guy who made the KSHE book.
There you go.
So you're a collector.
He's a collector, and of course, then there's John Seban. He has some as well.
There's very little tape of Joy in the Morning.
Yeah, why is that? You know what? I have a theory about that. There is very little of her. You have some. A lot of the recordings were self-recorded recordings.
Yes.
People record themselves. Guys would do that, and you didn't. Plus, a lot of listeners did record, but you were hosting the morning show.
Exactly.
And back then, most of the KSHE listeners weren't even up.
They were still up from the night before, but by that time, didn't know where the button was.
Thus, very little of you.
Right.
But you do have some amazing gems there. I know you have. You go back to Prince Knight, you have John Williams, you have Steve Rosen, you have Sir Ed, you have Richard Fendel on the air doing the news, the old KSHE news format. It's amazing that over a period of time, how many different sources have you found these things from? I mean, there are a lot of people out there collecting.
Do you ever go on
Yes.
Craigslist and just ask?
Yes, I even go on Craigslist and all that.
Now, in addition to all of these air checks, it's inevitable that you would end up with some really amazing interviews with rock stars. For example, David Bowie.
Yes.
You have an interview that, who did that?
Rich Dalton, Radio
Rich Dalton did David Bowie. I think I had a list of some of them here. I wrote down Drew Johnson did several of them, the Kinks. He had the Kinks and Paul and Linda McCartney. I interviewed Paul and Linda McCartney when I was in Kansas City. The record label flew me there and didn't tell me I was going to interview them. I thought I was just going to the show. So I see the show, and afterwards they say, "Come on, we're going to take you backstage." They handed me a recorder and said, "Here, there they sit down and interview them." And that is not the way you want to interview Paul McCartney.
Yeah, you're not prepared. Yes.
Not knowing, and so my questions were like, You were with the Beatles, and that was before you, Linda, right?
Well, hold on. Doesn't anybody have my interview with Jim Dandy from Black Oak, Arkansas?
Thank God, no.
Anyway.
Do you have any favorites, any favorite interviews or any favorite air checks for one reason or another?
Well, pretty much all my KSHEs, including my own shows. I was the guest DJ for there in October of 2008. And I have other shows where my name was mentioned, and I just got off the air with Radio Rich Dalton for The Roots. And last year they did a Radio Rich tribute on SLCR St. Louis Classic Rock, and there was a segment on there where the DJ mentioned my name.
Well, that's always a favorite, sure. For those who don't know, just so we can say this, Rich Dalton right now is at theroots.fm. If you go to theroots.fm.
Online.
It's a radio station. Ted Hoppick is there. Katie Cruz is there. Who else is there? Al Hofer is there.
Yeah,
They're all doing classic rock radio right now there.
But anyway, what I would do is when I get these old tapes from people, whether they're from reel-to-reel or cassette, I prefer cassette, I would put the cassette into the cassette player. There's a very good friend of mine. I was actually a married couple, a very good friend of mine and my wife's Penny, Dennis and Linda Murray, who's known as Coco Pelli and Roadrunner. But anyway, what I do is I pop the tape into the tape player and then plug my digital player in. Let the sound go into the digital player, and I record an average of 256 kilobytes per second. And
which is a good quality. Yeah. Not only that, then you apparently you really do a lot of processing after that, because it really sounds good. It's amazing how good you got the music to sound and everything on those old tapes to sound.
Yes, but I have an audio editor at home, AVS audio editor. Well, I was able to use your scoped air checks in the morning, and either you or her. one or the other sent me those. What I did was my audio editor. Of course, I tweaked the sound, of course, and then combined the tracks into one single track.
So then you put the music back in it. Well, for
so
those who
nice.
are interested in hearing some of this or downloading it, it's free. And if you're watching this interview right now on our Facebook page, you'll see in the comments, you'll see the link to it.
And
if you're not, then
you
go to our
want
Facebook
more
page.
people, if they have something to bring
How
it
would
out,
they
get it
reach
to
you? How do they reach you?
Well, they could contact me on my Facebook page under Kenneth Hawkins, St. Louis, Missouri. I don't know the exact Facebook link right off.
We'll show it. We'll show it.
Yes.
Okay.
But my profile picture has the award of the SLCL
St. Louis Classic Rock Award,
and, yeah, from
Which
last
is
year.
Well deserved.
Yes, that's my Facebook profile picture. It's got a picture of me at KSHE during October and has the background of the St. Louis Arch and all that. So that's how you would find me.
How long have you had this shirt?
As a matter of fact, my very good friend, who's a KSHE listener and fan, Jeff Williams, who goes by the nickname of Raptor Man. We used to have a MSN chat site where we get together every Sunday morning while the classic show is playing. So he works for a shirt company that puts the imprints on these kinds of shirts, and he was nice enough to give me some complimentary shirts for free because of my Aircheck collecting. So,
nice.
And then along with that, speaking of shirts, I had enough shirts left over that I was able to send some to my very good friend in Milan, Italy, Dario Monferini, and he's a real Italian. The only Italian that I know of that doesn't like to eat pizza, but he enjoys KSHE. He's a radio buff just like I am.
That says so much.
Well, Kenny, thank you for coming in
Yes.
and sharing all this with us today. It's always good to see you.
You are quite welcome.
Thank you. And it is good what you're doing, and it's very valued. And
you.
this segment is made possible through the generosity of Clayton's Bakery and Pastries in Des Peres, offering fresh-made baked goods using recipes from St. Louis's earliest history and fresh baked bread right from the bakery. 11,744 Manchester Road in Des Peres.
And whatever you do, don't let these things get into the bakery, because I have to put up with these things just about every day at home. And just like you always said, Penny, ants, and more ants.